Subscribe to the Lightsport and Ultralight Flyer web video magazine with hundreds and hundreds of videos now online, including airshow coverage, Rotax engine tech tips, Rotax 377, 447, 503, 532, and 582 engine rebuilding videos, each 2 hours in length, propeller maintenance, advisories and repairs, BRS parachute saves, Bing carb updates, and much, much more. Get a yearly subscription at www.ultralightflyer.com. Then we have another new one.
I don't know where these guys keep coming from, but here's another nice new airplane. Low wing, all metal, very handsome, out of the Czech Republic. No surprise there, a lot of great airplanes out of the Czech Republic. I've actually seen this airplane before in Europe, and indeed it has been out 5 years, but this is #1 in the USA. They got approval on it just last October, and had FAA themselves do it because of the new process now, has FAA often going out and doing first airplane approvals themselves. Took them a few months to get that done, but they've got the approval. I saw the certificate, so this is SLSA number 114. It's the Viper SD4.
And what type of construction used in this airplane?
Well, it's an all-metal airplane. There are certain fiberglass component parts on it, the wheel pants and the nose cowl and the not even the spinner. Spinner looks metal as well, but all metal wings, all metal fuselage, conventional structure in every way, which is, and obviously low wing, which is going to make a lot of people comfortable for those people that are looking for that kind of construction that they're familiar with already.
And what kind of power are they using for this airplane?
They put the Rotax 912 100 horsepower in here, but they came up quickly and said the certified version, which means that this airplane is okay for night. That's something that Rotax likes to see before they'll allow night flight in their aircraft. So it's a little extra added cost to it, but gives you that extra capability. Comfortable airplane inside. Good cloth interior seats done in some different kind of fabric. I enjoy this. It looks a little different to me. Color coded with the paneling and everything. Among the panel instruments, we've got a couple that we're very familiar with, the Dynon D100, Dynon D120, but then we've got the, this is called a GeoPilot 2. I'm not actually familiar with that AvMap, but it's obviously supplying the GPS signal that's used by the two Dynon instruments with the radio stack underneath it.
And control system now, we're using dual sticks on it?
Yeah, dual sticks, as you can see here, obviously sticks on both sides. The one on the left side where the pilot in command typically sits has a series of buttons on the top that does the usual thing with trim and push to talk and other features that you want to hook up to it. Throttle is up here in a nice, easy, comfortable position with a very clear grip to it here. You certainly wouldn't miss grabbing that handle the right way. It does have dual rudder pedals on both sides of the aircraft, so you can be flown from either side just as well. As to braking, you've got a brake right here in the center. And so it's just a single point brake. I bet you it's in the lock position now for park. Is that right? So show me how you undo that, John.
Just press down on it and it's unlocked.
Press down and it comes up. And so then to stop would just be to push down on it.
Unlock it, just pretty much just push it back. And
I see the pin on the other side. So a
And
parking brake feature. I bet you I can do that one there if you don't get it. There you go. Okay, so now it's locked down in position again for parking.
And the fuel tanks are in the wings on this one now?
Fuel tanks are in both wings, and what we see on each side here with a very easy load then is a 9¼ gallon per side, so 18½ gallons of fuel. That's going to translate to better than 4 hours of flying in a typical Rotax, but you can extend the fuel tanks. They probably go out another bay in the wing, and then that doubles, or not doubles, but increases the capacity to 26 gallons.
And the fuel selector valve is just in between the seats as well?
Yeah, right between me here, nice and well labeled, left, right, both. We've got it in the off position now because we're at an air show, so that's appropriate. In the center here, you can see a small lever that is a flap lever, and I'm not going to move it too much. I don't know if you've got it wired up or not, but this is it's an electric flap, so if the power's off, then that's not an issue. But we've got one other little knob here that you might look at and go, well, what's that about? This is not a parachute handle. This is a tow hitch. So when your camera goes back and looks at the tail a little later on, you'll see a tow hitch back there. This airplane, very common in the European theater to try and use these kind of airplanes with the more powerful engines to tow gliders. Nice secure latches on both sides. I always like to see that, and up front or up forward so that there's almost no chance at all. Ventilation is provided through some Mechaplex arrangements on the side. These are very common, but as those come down into position, they're right about here, bringing a lot of cabin air into the airplane. This is a very broad airplane. What is the measurement across? 48 48 inches. So that's right up there with some of the very biggest ones in the SLSA fleet, and is, what is that, more than 10 inches wider than our Cessna 172. Performance numbers in this airplane, Dave. First of all, let's talk about climb, because it really gets up and goes. 1,280 feet per minute climb rate. That's getting up and going quick. Stall speed about 40 knots. That's in the landing configuration with flaps down. And maximum speed, of course, is our usual 120. But at about 5,300 RPM, I'm told it's about 108 knot cruise. That's going to translate to about 125 miles an hour.
If we want to get more information on the airplane, Dan, where would we go?
Well, we go to Jan's website there in Frisco, Texas. It's Tomark Aero. That's Tomark Aero, AERO.com. TomarkAero.com.